not put it all at risk.
Dr. Kennedy Graham.
Mr. Speaker, on Friday, I leave for Warsaw for the 19th annual meeting of the climate negotiations. I was at Earth Summit back in '92, where all this kicked off. I was at the 16th meeting in Copenhagen and the 18th at Doha last year. 20 years of struggle to save the planet from dangerous climate change. How have we done? The answer is not well, and the truth is we are proving to be inadequate to the task. The objective of the Framework Convention is stabilisation of greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere at a level that would prevent dangerous anthropogenic interference with the climate system. That year, the level of global emissions was 38 billion tonnes. Today, it is 50, one-third higher than when we undertook to reduce. The UN says that to stay under the 2-degree threshold of a dangerous climate, we must reduce global emissions to 44 billion by 2020. Business as usual will see 56. Our voluntary pledges will keep us also way above the target. The IPCC's recent fifth assessment report has 4 scenarios out to 2100. Only one, requiring a radical mitigation pathway, will keep us below the 2-degree threshold. The other 3 project a mean temperature rise of 2.6, 3 or 4.5 degrees. Global warming to date has been 0.8 degrees Celsius. We see around us the extreme weather events associated with 0.8, the forest fires in Russia and Australia, the severe storms in America and the Philippines. If this is what 0.8 does, imagine what 3 and 4.8 will do. Yet 4.5 is business as usual. Can we imagine what this will be? Why are we not factoring in the magnitude of this threat in our political discourse? Well, the people who are suffering from 0.8 are doing just that. The Philippine chief delegate at Warsaw had a few comments. Quote, "What my country is going through as a result of this extreme climate event is madness. This climate crisis is madness. We can stop this madness right here in Warsaw. We cannot sit and stay helpless staring at this international climate stalemate. It is time to take action. We need an emergency climate pathway." So Warsaw next week will test whether we manage to get negotiations for a global agreement back on track following the train wreck of Copenhagen. Whether we actually agree as an international community to reduce global emissions from 50 to 44 billion tonnes by 2020, just 6 years away. If we do not, then very simply, we shall be committing our children to a catastrophic future. How are we doing down here in New Zealand? Are we doing our fair share in this unprecedented and titanic task? New Zealand has the worst emissions record of all OECD countries. Our net emissions have grown from 32 million tonnes back in 1992, when we signed the convention and said we'd start reducing, to 57 today, a 78% increase. In 2020, they will be 70 million. In 2028, it will be 96. Does this bother our Prime Minister? No. Queried on the projected emissions, he offers a relaxed view of the future. Science, he says, will be, quote, our friend when it comes to climate change. Science could, quote, quite possibly solve the problem of our agricultural emissions. And besides, New Zealanders, he graciously observes, do not wish to change. Quote, I have never been of the view that people are going to dramatically change their lifestyle. They're not going to stop eating protein. They're not going to stop wanting New Zealand to produce that protein, but science can actually help us. It is willful negligence of this kind that will earn us once again the fossil awards at Warsaw. This will enable Climate Minister Tim Grosser to jeer at the global civil society, as he did in Doha, on the grounds that they are unrealistic idealists who cannot perceive the real world for what it is. Truth is, Mr. Speaker, the real world is what the scientists, those friends of the Prime Minister, are describing it to be. Catastrophic climate change in the course of this century, if we continue business as usual in the manner his government, for incomprehensible reasons, wishes it to be.
Honourable Chris Tremain.